One of our more recent cases, Captain Tyler Davis, who is still missing from Columbus, Ohio, has generated a lot of talk on our blog and a lot of there's a lot of opinions in this one.
Yeah, to put it mildly.
And they're all over the shop, and I think that they rightfully so, because there's, you know, you did a fantastic job with the interview.
Yeah,
and
best interview ever.
It was a very good interview, and there are people that question Brittany. There are some people that question the friend that was the third wheel for their events that evening.
Yeah, which wasn't supposed to be the third wheel. There was supposed to be a bunch of people there. Just happened to be the third wheel. And also, Brittany Davis herself knows, the more she talks about it, and being one of the last persons to see Tyler, her husband, that she's going to fall under suspicious, shade, right? And then, and I think on top of that too, like, she's young, 23 years old. And I think that comes off, because look, whether you're really upset about it or not, that, or seem not to be that upset, people have their opinions either way.
A lot of people asking if the police have found any other CCTV footage from surrounding businesses from that morning. That's an interesting question because, as we pointed out when we discussed this case, there is a lot of businesses around there. There's big business, there's stores, there's apartments, there's all kinds of opportunities for closed caption television, security cameras and such, to have some type of useful, helpful footage of Tyler or his friend or Brittany from that night. If they do have that, it's not been announced publicly, is really the most simple answer, I think, for that.
Coming from one of the lead detectives on there, they have all the footage from Easton Town Center, and we're talking about a complex, a mall complex. We're talking about thousands of cameras. And that's what really the police department finds so odd, is that they have footage. Again, one of the things is you got to talk to the Uber driver. That
was my next note here.
So
several people have said, I would love to hear from the Uber driver that took them back to the hotel.
So I believe that they've talked to him a little bit, right? Look, they're not going to give me all the information when I've talked to the detectives, but I believe they talked to him for a little bit. But the reason why they're not so concerned with him is, you want to talk about footage. They have that footage. They have the footage of the Uber driver pulling up and both Brittany, the friend, and Tyler getting out of the car. And from that footage, they can see Tyler walking off of that footage.
And so then we lose him after that.
Right. And so what's interesting is, you have proof that he made it back. You have proof that part of the story
is real.
Is
true. Yeah.
Right. And I would be interested to know, because the detective listened to some of our interview, but he didn't get to it all when we actually had the conversation. But I'd be interested to see if how Brittany said, I had to get Tyler's friend to help me wake him up because he was asleep in the Uber. So I'd be interested to see how that played out. I don't think they'll release that, but it's very odd for Columbus police to go, this guy is in an area where there's thousands of cameras, and we have him. We know he's there. We know he walks off, but he's not picked up again. Very strange.
Yeah. And then there's some debate on whether she went into panic mode too quickly or so quickly. There's a lot of people saying that is the way I would react. There's others saying that they think that she, being Brittany, went into panic mode too quickly. Again, that's another situation of things that we talk about on the show often. It's very tough to gauge how everyone would react in a situation.
Yeah. To me, the more cases that we investigate, right? To me, you have to throw that out the window.
Of course, Because everybody has a different personality. I mean, we all know people that panic over absolute nothing all the time. We all know people that get angry at the drop of a hat, but not everybody is that way.
What are you trying to say?
Not everybody's that way. So it's I think it's very difficult to say, oh, this is not how I would have reacted, or I wouldn't have gone into panic mode so quickly.
Yeah, I think when you're investigating this stuff, you have to step back from that and say, because look, there's going to be some people that are too involved, right? It's just like a lot of people say, her story has too many details. Mm-hmm. Well, part of the reason why she has those details is because she has bank receipts and she has bank statements that show where they went, what time they charged for drinks, and she has cell phone records. And what's really sad is the Columbus Police Department is in a fight, dog fight basically, with Verizon, because Verizon says, hey, well, look, our client still paying his bill, and just because he's missing, he's an adult, and we're not going to give you the information.
But to be clear on that, we're not throwing it out there that he's sitting somewhere alive and well and mailing in his bills.
No, because his bill is paid by his parents. So you have his parents saying, hey, we want his records. You have his wife saying, hey, we want his records. You have the police department saying, we want his records. Because here's what I can tell you, and I don't know if I talked about this before, but here's where it gets real interesting to me, okay? I don't even know if I'm supposed to be sharing this. I don't really care, though. They can sue me. Okay, so what's interesting is they want his phone records, because you have one record that just goes, here's your incoming calls, here's your outgoing calls, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have, there's some cell phone ping technology based off that. And that's where we get the cell phone ping, possibly off the Costco's tower, the one that's closer to the Costco's tower, and then the ones that is by
Abbott Labs.
I was going to say Ross Labs. Abbott Labs. Two different areas. So they
both on the east side of Stelzer Road.
Yes. So, but where it becomes interesting is that she claims that he called, and I'm going to get the times wrong, but it was like, do you remember what time that was?
Between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., right?
Yeah, but there was like a
call. He called Brittany?
There was a call at, I want to say like 2:10 or something like that. There was a call at 2:10, and then they talked for a little bit, and then he called back. And that's the one that she said it registers on the call log as a minute long, but she claims is a 4-second phone call, and he never said anything. Mm-hmm. And so Brittany believes that's when his phone died, right? Mm-hmm. So I can't remember if it's 2:10 and then he called back at 2:11, whatever the time.
Well, I think it would have been in the 3 o'clock hour, because we have the 3 a.m.
3:10. Okay,
3 a.m. Uber ride.
Okay. Oh, no, okay. No, it was 4:10, right? 4:10. Call comes in. She talks to him, and then it was like 4:11 or something. Anyways, the point being is he called, said that's when he said, I'm sorry, I see the hotel. I'm walking through the woods. I'll be there shortly. Mm. That's the call. And then she claims that he called right back, and there was 4 seconds, and he hung up. Well, what they believe is that they can prove that his phone was used after that, because there would be a Snapchat after that. Hmm. So, and possibly some more activity on his Facebook. That's the speculation right now. Mm-hmm. So
which could have been done by somebody else using his device, or could have been conducted by Tyler Davis himself.
Right. And so, the sad thing is that they have to fight with Verizon to get this information. We have a person that, at this point, if they're missing and alive, they're definitely in danger. Mm-hmm. So they should have to fight for this information. Mm-hmm. Because I guess this deeper information, you could actually see text when the text went in and out, and possibly app usage. I don't know if they could actually see. I know that they've been contacting Facebook because they were trying to get into his messenger to see, because then they could read the messages back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that there's been multiple eyewitnesses that have came forward to say that they've seen him. One was at like a Walmart, claiming that he was like working at a Walmart, and they checked that out. Was it him? But the other ones, they were still looking into checking it out. But but yeah, it's just like they could get so much more information based off that Verizon report.
Well, and a lot of people call into question the argument or disagreement that took place at the strip club before they get in the Uber and head back to the hotel.
Right.
And I thought we were fairly clear about it. Maybe we weren't. But I think why people point this out is we only have Brittany's account of what this was about.
Right.
And we don't have Tyler to tell us this is in fact what occurred. But the way that it's been explained to us is that Brittany went to the restroom and Tyler and his friend remained kind of near the front door to the strip club, and they were asked to leave. They were told to go outside because the bar is closing, to which Tyler then explains to the bouncer, my wife is in the restroom. We're waiting for her. Mm-hmm. And the bouncer is emphatic that you need to leave. We don't care that you're whoever's in the restroom or what.
Right.
She'll leave when she gets out of the bathroom.
Well, in the club's defense, they hear all kinds of excuses why these guys don't want to leave, because they're hoping to talk to one of these ladies before they go home.
Right. And the thing is, if this is in fact how this went down, again, we only have Brittany's side of the story here, but to me, this seems a very incredibly likely scenario. We've all been in similar scenarios to this. And like I said, a lot of some of the bars in Columbus, and I'm sure this is this way in a lot of other areas as well, some of them are very
aggressive.
Well, it's a hard stop, what I call a hard close, where it's the no ifs, ands, or buts. The bar closes at this time. Drinks are served at this time. Everyone is out of the bar at this time, and there's no question about it. This is how it's got to be. And if people aren't playing along, they're being difficult, and they're just being asked to leave.
Well, because a lot of these clubs, especially like gentlemen's clubs, they're looked into more on closing times, if you're serving drinks after that allotted time period, and those are big dollar fines, and they could shut down your club because
right. And we talked about that a little bit, and I have seen a police car more than once just parked. There's that strip club is in like a court, and it used to be near my old house. And there were plenty of times where I've seen a police car, a cruiser, sitting out in front of there in the very early morning hours.
Right.
Now, I don't know if they're there because they were called, or if there was a scuffle outside, or
if they're hired by the club for security. Yeah,
or if they're just simply there because they're like, you know what? Liquor license laws say you can serve till 2:00 or 2:15, whatever time it is. Right. And they do have problems with that in every city. They have bars that say, you know what? We're just going to shut the front door and leave all these people in here as long as they're paying.
Yeah.
So you're right. In the club's defense, they have to do that if they want to keep their damn doors open. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that this strip club incident has anything to do with. It might have something to do with Tyler's demeanor later, where Brittany's saying he's grumpy, he's upset, confused.
Yeah.
It may have something to do with his demeanor, but I don't think it has anything to do with, like, I don't think that the bouncer drove to the Hilton and snatched this dude up.
Right. A lot of people also claim that the bottle of water that they got from the stripper was possibly poisoned or roofied, and it's just like, okay.
But you would find him.
Yeah.
You would find if somebody was poisoned and they took a walk a few football fields away, you would find him.
Well, yeah, most likely you would. And
as you pointed out, they have the footage of the Uber dropping them off at the Hilton. So it's not like something went down at the strip club. The bouncers beat them up and just sent the other two home. That didn't happen.
No, and what I really wanted to know from the detective, and he would not tell me either way, was the whole, we get back to the hotel, she goes upstairs, Brittany goes upstairs to charge her phone. Mm-hmm. And this whole, like, the phones being, on 4% or 5%, and how long they would last and all that stuff. And she claims she goes upstairs to charge her phone. Again, that hotel has footage of that. That hotel has footage in the lobby. And I know that is a fact because they said, the police told me, yes. Mm-hmm. They did not. I said, look,
That's a nice hotel, by the way. It's a big one, too.
Yeah, I would really be interested to see if Brittany only goes up once or if she goes up multiple times. And did the friend go in the lobby and go upstairs? Because she claims that, no, he was outside the whole time. That actually when she went upstairs is when the friend was following her husband. Mm-hmm. So I would, not saying that part of the story is not true, but what we do have is we have a story from an individual that saw him last, and we have a way to back up that information or not. So they were well aware that was a concern to me. They told me they have the footage. They never told me if it lined up or not with her story. Mm-hmm. I do know, because I told you that the friend called me. He was a little upset. He thought we used his name at some point.
There were a few people that said to me or emailed me saying, just so you guys know, there's a part where, and I couldn't hear this myself. Maybe I didn't get the minute mark from anybody, mm-hmm. the timestamp or whatever. But a few people emailed me and said, oh, by the way, guys, just so you know, there's a part where you can hear Brittany say the friend's name. I don't think either one of us actually said it.
It was. Well, he thought at first, because he didn't listen to it, he was like, hey, I think you didn't cut out my name on one time. And I think also one of the hosts said my name multiple times, which we never said his name, which is good. But the first time that you kind of are introduced to this character, you almost hear the name John. Well, that is not his name. Oh. And to me, I was like, she clearly says John, and that's not his name. So that will throw people off the set. The problem, though, is, one, you're with your friend. He goes missing. You become Clint. You become Clint in the Brian Schaefer story. And people are always going to have their speculation about you. But the other problem, too, is this guy has been trying to be helpful. He's been very cooperative with the police. So that's great. He's asked whatever they've asked for, he's given. That's great. Mm-hmm. He was concerned about the negative opinions people were giving him online. The other thing, though, too, is when his friend went missing, he said, look, here's my friend. He went missing, and here's my information. And if you know anything, give me a call. Well, that information somebody took that information and started going, hey, man, this guy is a person of interest, which is not what the police have said. Mm-hmm. And they've been posting that everywhere online, saying, here's a guy that's a person of interest in this missing person case. Here's his name and here's his number. And here's his Facebook account. So, that kind of sucks.
Well, and don't anybody misconstrue that someone named John is anyway involved in anything.
Right.
It's, as you said, that's not this individual's name. We don't know why it sounds like she's saying John.
Well, I put an edit point, and when you put the edit point in it like disrupted, so it's almost like it's an end of one word and an end of another word, and it's
a distortion. Yeah. Okay.
So, but it's difficult too because as I agree with the police that there is a lot of work that has to get done in these missing person cases. To me, though, when you have two people that were seen with them last, right? Mm-hmm. You've gotten phone records from some of them. You're issuing subpoenas for other things. You're trying to fight with Verizon. You're trying to tap into their Wi-Fi at home. Polygraph tests. And why weren't these issued week one? Oh, Brittany, you're very concerned? Come in. Take a polygraph. Oh, friend, you're very concerned? Come in. Take a polygraph. And I know that they're leaning towards that or will do that eventually as they're not getting answers. Mm-hmm. But it's difficult because, yes, there's 8 officers and then there's a ton of missing person cases. Mm-hmm. I get that, but at the same time, it's just like, at least in this one, you have people that are willing to talk and willing to cooperate. And it's like, let's start trying to figure out if anybody's involved or if it's just an accident.
A lot of people too questioning who had possession of the key cards that would grant you access to their room.
Yeah, so do you want to answer that?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the way I remember it, because there are some people that point out, well, Brittany says at one point that Tyler has a key card and the friend has a key card, but then later, closer to the time in question, she's able to get entry into the room to charge her phone. And the way that I think that this went down, if I'm remembering it correctly, is I thought that Tyler had one key card, his friend had one key card, but at some point during the course of their night, before they get back to the Hilton, or once they do get back to the Hilton, Tyler gives his card, or the friend somebody gave a card to Brittany at some point. Is that right?
Yeah. So basically, you know, I believe the friend is single, right? And so kind of the idea was, you know, they're going out drinking. Brittany says this, and part of the story, she's trying to be a good wing girl for their friend. And so they did give him a key card saying, hey, just in case we get split up for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. You know, because what if he's flirting with some girl and they're like, hey, we don't want to hang out here anymore. Right. We're going to leave. So they gave him a key card saying, because they didn't want him to, you know, drive home drunk. So, but when they got back and Tyler walked off, it's my belief that she asked the friend for the key card. But again, we have footage of this.
So Tyler may have had a card and Brittany may have had a card at that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, we have footage of the lobby. I'd like to see what that footage is and if those stories line up with that footage.
So this is kind of weird, and you talk about the universe a lot.
You're kind of weird.
And so on Friday, now, mind you, this is nowhere near Easton, nowhere near the Easton area at all. But on Friday, I went to the grocery store. And either when I was walking in or walking out, I saw something lying on the pavement there. And it's a Hilton hotel key card. Mm. So I picked it up and I put it in my pocket and I was looking at it when I got home. And on one side of it, it reads, "It's time to let me go. Your phone is now your room key. Download the Hilton app." So there's this whole thing with the key cards might be significant or insignificant in the sense that one or two or all three of them possibly could have used their phone to access the room. Now, I don't know that this works everywhere. I can't say that this key card is from the Hilton Easton.
Right.
Because like I said, this grocery store was nowhere near it. But it's an interesting angle here that maybe all three of them, regardless of them only having two cards, could have had access to the room.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, We have footage of that, so, and we have footage of them getting out of that Uber car, so why don't we have footage
you would have
of
footage of them going through the lobby to get up to their room. So if any of that is weird, or there's weird movements or strange things going on that aren't gelling with her story or the friend's story, that would be extremely obvious to detectives.
Well, no, but we also have footage of them outside the car. Did she ask the friend for a key card? We would be able to see that.